Hey guys, this is another deep dive from Tiffany Fitzhenry. Who's really behind leaving Neverland? There's Oprah and Harvey Weinstein. This is from about a month or so ago. Today's big news, Gayle King's interview with R. Kelly, complete with a perfect 2-minute emotional outburst. Kelly's raw, impassioned screaming fit is currently tearing across the internet at warp speed. If there is a thing they want us watching right now, this is it. Define diversion. Define distraction. Define optical illusion. Define projection. Sure, the R. Kelly story is important. It reveals enormous things, like the fact that pedophilia, human trafficking and child sex abuse are very real, rampant and openly accepted in Hollywood and among the elite in general. The story of Robert Kelly reveals, to those smart enough to see it, how the prison pyramid really works in all its vile wickedness. But there is more going on than what's being shown to us, guys. Much more. First of all, realise that you're being manipulated, even when it comes to news about R. Kelly. See Exhibit A. Alternate headline, R. Kelly admits he purchased underage girls for sex trafficking. Page 6, R. Kelly claims parents sold daughters to him. It's been pretty obvious to me that R. Kelly being thrust into the spotlight, much like Weinstein, was that this show is well orchestrated, highly controlled and coordinated. Creepy porn lawyer and obvious deep state porn Michael Avenatti even chimed in today for good measure. Avenatti is straight out of Central Casting, and this is all right on cue, to say nothing of the fact that the documentary about him, Surviving R. Kelly, was given wall-to-wall media coverage and touted and elevated in unison across social media by a chorus of blue check marks. It appeared on Lifetime, for crying out loud. Fun fact, Lifetime is owned by Disney. Jointly owned by the Hearst Communications and the Walt Disney Company. Daily reminder, 5 people control the entire media, including every news outlet, newspaper, movie studio and TV channel. Ask yourself, does Disney have a reason to create diversions in the area of child sex abuse on a systematic level? Yes, if anyone does, they most certainly do. When it comes to R. Kelly, it's clear the powers that be are facilitating a public sacrifice, the likes of which we have seen before. Cut to January 10, 2019, BBC with renewed vigour stirs the pot, updates the Harvey Weinstein saga, and the plethora of women who have now accused him include big-name Hollywood actresses. Harvey Weinstein scandal. Who was accused of what? It seemed that even Harvey Weinstein money and influence in court, he couldn't get his charges dismissed. Weinstein could not catch a break in the media either. Then something quite remarkable occurred, as if someone had pulled the switch. The very same day as the Harvey Weinstein BBC article, a Fox article appeared. January 10th, 2019, Fox News reports the Sundance Film Festival announced 2 last-minute entries for the 2019 lineup. One was leaving Neverland. Couldn't get my mouth around that. Sundance adds documentary about Michael Jackson accusers. Coincidentally, Untouchable, Harvey Weinstein's story, was also to be aired on January the 25th at Sundance. In fact, it has several showing, but the media was already in full blitzkrieg Michael Jackson mode. All right, now to our B story. Let's switch gears for a second, and soon you'll see how these seemingly unrelated stories all intertwine. Cut to January 30th. Oprah's 65 aboard Geffen's yacht. Oprah celebrated her 65th birthday aboard David Geffen's yacht, the rising sun on a private island in the Caribbean with other uber-wealthy famous people, like any normal person, I roll. On a $300 million megawatt watching Michael Jackson documentary with her best friend Gail. Oh, that's how she celebrated her birthday. The story caught my attention for two reasons. First, I found it bizarre and random that it was so intentionally mentioned in the group, which included David Geffen, Gail King, Oprah, and others, viewed Leaving Neverland, the recent Michael Jackson documentary. Charles Thompson, yep, Weinstein's best mate Oprah leaked a story promoting the Jackson doc from David Geffen's boat. It was added to Sundance Film Fest at the last minute despite not being a film, and the press buried the Weinstein doc. Now Oprah's holding events promoting the Jackson doc. Tina R.R. replies, Isn't there a Weinstein documentary in Sundance where Leaving Neverland was shown at last minute entry? How come no one seems to be talking about that Weinstein doco? You can't help but think that MJ is being used as a PR machine to cover up for the living Hollywood predators. They'll throw each other under the bus, guys, I'm telling you. Number 1. This is Tariq Nasheed. Doesn't it seem like Oprah is suddenly going out of her way to trash Michael Jackson? Notice how they made a point to report that Oprah was watching the At Leaving Neverland documentary with David Geffen, who was one of the most powerful men in Hollywood. The John of God connection. Secondly, if you remember, at the same time, the John of God story was breaking wide open. We were finding out a man who Oprah launched to megastardom was literally farming babies through the sex slavery of very young girls and selling infants around the world to the highest bidder. John of God is connected to many elite celebrities such as Bill Clinton, Naomi Campbell, and Marina Abramovic, who filmed a documentary at his compound in Brazil in 2016. If you don't know who Marina Abramovic is, she does spirit cooking with sperm, blood, and breast milk, or something like that. Very strange. A few days later, the woman who exposed the story, Sabrina Bittencourt, mysteriously took her own life, like so many mysteriously do. Was she suicided? Her son was quoted on social media as saying, "They killed my mother. Remember 2 things. 1, Oprah and Weinstein are big-time besties." Everyone knew what Weinstein was, everyone. Then remember there was a recent scuttlebutt about Weinstein and sex trafficking charges. A judge was ruled to go forward. Sex trafficking, not unlike the John of God Oprah kerfuffle. So what happened next? Well, Oprah came home from her rising sun jaunts, coincidentally just a few miles from Epstein and Brandon's islands, and not only promptly threw her support behind Leaving Neverland, she arranged an interview with the 2 alleged survivors who are featured in the documentary, Wade Robinson, James Safechuck, just like that, almost as if this was all planned ahead of time. Now, if you're not completely new to planet Earth, you'll remember Michael Jackson trial, during which Robson and Safechuck testified under oath in a court of law that Michael Jackson did not abuse them. If you recall, Michael Jackson was acquitted of the charges of child molestation. So now not only do we have Robson and Safechuck doing a complete 180 on the testimony they gave, which resulted in Jackson's acquittal, we have this well-timed documentary Oprah just happens to be publicly seizing upon to position herself as champion for sexual abuse victims. Yeah, okay. Are you still with me? You better sit down for the next part, folks. Enty, an alleged anonymous undercover entertainment attorney, shared a blind item not long ago claiming that Leaving Neverland was funded by none other than Oprah, Gayle King, David Geffen, Harvey Weinstein, and TMZ founder Harvey Levin. What? And I'll put the link in below this, guys. And just to up the ante, Lisa Marie Presley is apparently livid about the whole thing and out for blood. All of this should give you pause, and very likely indigestion as well. Gayle King's noisy as fuck interview with R. Kelly only makes the whole thing more suspicious. What's really going on here? Ready for the kicker? House of the Rising Sun. Remember how Geffen's yacht is called Rising Sun. There is an actual house in New Orleans frequented by Washington and Hollywood's elite. Frequent. No, okay. It's in there twice. Shouldn't be there. What do a list of celebrities, a top Hollywood producer, a highly influential politician, and one of the richest men in the world all have in common? 100-year-old mansion, honeypot in New Orleans, and secrets. Lots of secrets. Today's blind items, St. Charles House of Horrors. It is still there. It is still owned by the same people who've owned the house for hundreds of years. There is a sprawling house on St. Charles Street in New Orleans that has been used by politicians and celebrities as a secret pleasure den for almost 100 years. Over the years, the owners have remodeled several times. The most recent of these remodels took place within the last decade. Unbeknownst to the various guests of the establishment, each room has been wired for video and sound. And then, can't read the top bit of that. That doesn't go anywhere. In the past week, all of this is threatening to come out of the shadows. Apparently, one of the masterminds behind it got into an argument with his father. The father, one of the wealthiest men in the world, was killed this week in a freak accident. Respective A-list husbands had made to the house. Next thing you know, 2 separate checks had been written. $3 million from one A-lister and $7 million from an A-lister. Oh, and that A-lister, he had to cough up another $5 million this year. Apparently he's okay with being caught with a guy, even though he is in the closet. He does draw the line at him with tween boys, though. His actress wife thought it was just guys and he liked not boys. Since she found that out last year, they spent a total of about 10 days. Okay, that must keep going. Must be an article. So as I said, I'll put the link in, so if you want to go further and read it, you can. I appeared on an episode of Enty's podcast about his house on St. Charles with connection to Hollywood elite like Geffen, and the rabbit hole is deep, my friends. When you think of the lyrics of a 70s song, There Is a House in New Orleans, it's called The Rising Sun, the universe starts to feel elastic. Does this all circle back to what we've been learning about the dark ways that the world has really been running right under our noses? That the rich, famous and powerful are spun up in a web of compromise, controlled influence, human trafficking, pedophilia, occult rituals, satanic practices and more. I don't know. And I also don't know the truth about Michael Jackson, and neither Leaving Neverland or the recent rebuttal video, Lies of Leaving Neverland, have managed to convince me either way. My question is this: who really funded Leaving Neverland? Was it Oprah and Geffen and gang? This is the critical question in unravelling a story of absolute historic proportions. If it was this group of elites who've been implicated in the darkest of deeds themselves, that opens up a massive Pandora's box, one this planet has been waiting millennia to see exposed. Answering this question has the greatest chance of starting us down a path of understanding what really happened surrounding MJ. I know one thing for sure: whoever funded it, the Anons will figure it out. Time to dig, guys. Start here, Leaving Neverland. DM me on Twitter, let me know what you find. I'm 100% independent reader funded. If you appreciate my work and research and efforts to build a counter Hollywood, please become a Patreon. And so I will put this link below, guys, so if you want to look further or anything, feel free to do that. Okay, guys, have a good one.